If you're a D2C e-commerce brand scaling in Europe and you're doing between 50 and 200,000 euros per month, then you already know that creative strategy is one of the most important parts of being able to scale your business to that next level. What most brands don't realize is the systems behind creative strategy that allows for higher creative intent. That is what I'm going to show you in this video today, how we at Profida ensure high creative intent with the creatives that we're producing for our clients, and hopefully you'll learn a thing or two. So I'm going to go through the foundations of creative strategy and how we're producing scripts and briefs as well. And also I'm going to show you how we produce a strategic outmapping with also real examples and everything, so that you can see everything that goes into creating a strategy that actually scales clients. Just to show you that obviously we're not frauds, here you can see this is actually a screenshot taken from yesterday, the 24th of April, as of recording this video. Here you can see a client that we're currently working with that are doing 12,000 euros per day, and here we have another one that are doing 17,000 euros per day. And these are just random screenshots just from yesterday. You can see here, this was yesterday. With AI, it's not really difficult to produce volume. But the thing that matters in 2026 is intent. You want to create content that are intentful based on research. With our systems, we ensure that the creative intent is as high as possible, which ultimately results in a higher hit rate per concepts that are being produced. And this is the golden key. With Higgsfield, with AI, you can so quickly go ahead and produce 10 new static concepts. But the reality is that most of these are going to flop because the intent of them are not very high. Our foundation for the creative strategy that we're making for our clients is based on 5 different elements. You can say 6 elements, because one thing that I've not included here is, of course, the product that we're going to advertise with. The product, we can just insert it over here. The product is always what sets the foundation for how are we going to advertise this product, what's the strategy behind scaling and whatnot. This would always go here, and that would be the first entry point to this whole creative strategy outmapping that I'm going to show you here. In this video, I'm going to show you from one of our clients a whole setup that we have built around the creative strategy so that we can create content with high intent. So the first thing that we always start with is a customer track. And the customer track here outmaps everything there is about this customer profile that we want to target. A customer track here is going to go into who this person is, what he or she struggles with, he or she may have done before, his or her mindset, strategic goal, strategic method, how we communicate to that person, the communication focus areas, buying triggers, and messaging that we must avoid. I'm going to go a little bit in depth here just so that you can see how each step is interconnected between customer track, angles and use cases, master concept, and the creative brief. So for you to understand the entire process here, I'm going to go a little bit in depth with the customer track here, so bear with me for a moment. If we look at who this person is, then this person is a person who bought solar panels 4 to 7 years ago based on calculations that made financial sense at the time. They were promised strong returns from selling energy back to the grid, and for a while this promise also held up. Now the economics have shifted and government subsidies have been cut, spot prices during summer are lower, and they are effectively giving away energy for near nothing. They feel let down by their previous investment and are financially frustrated and are not financially desperate. They are homeowners with a low or no mortgage left, comfortably retirement income, and a habit of improving and maintaining their property. They are not tech driven. They do not research obsessively. They act when something makes obvious financial sense and when someone they trust explains it clearly. They are passively aware that batteries exist, but not yet connected the dots between their solar frustrations and battery being the solution. So the product here that we're going to advertise with here is a battery that sells electricity back to the grid, but does it in a way that are quite unique to the market and provides a unique mechanism, which I'm going to dive a little bit more into a little bit later in this video. This is who this person is. This then sets the foundation for how we're going to string together our master concept, which is going to be a composition of a track, a customer track, an angle, and a use case. Angles and use cases are heavily tied together with customer research and the product that we're going to advertise with. When we know the product and we have done the customer track, that is when we can start diving into angles and use cases. What are angles? Angles is how we're going to present the concept in a way that's going to catch their attention and most likely are going to result in them converting. There's going to be different triggers, and what we like to do is we like to categorize into 4 different triggers. So it could be an enemy, it could be an identity shift, it could be a mechanism, and it could be a risk reversal. I'm going to go through the mechanism here because that's going to be tied together with the master concept that I'm going to show you in just a moment here. Here, the mechanism that there is around this product that we are going to advertise with is that there is a guaranteed income mechanism. And we believe that this is one of the strongest angles that we can go ahead and create content around. Here, we can see the description of it. Imaldo's grid balancing partnership with SVK provides a fixed monthly payout of up to 1,370 SEK for 36 months. This is a contractually guaranteed, not a projection based on market fluctuations. Other batteries cannot offer this. We believe that this is one of the strongest angles that we can go ahead and produce content with. We outmap all of these angles here. Then we also outmap the use cases, like what could be the trigger, what could be a relatable situation for the customer track that we want to produce this master concept in. If we look at the use cases here, we, just like with the angles, we also categorize this into 4 different buckets. We have the daily frustration, we have the live stage, we have the practical constraint, and then we have a trigger moment. Down here, this is a trigger moment that we are gonna go ahead and explore in the master concept in just a moment as well. And here we have the solar panels no longer paying back. This is one of the major frustration points for solar panel owners in Sweden, also I believe in Denmark and Norway and whatnot, but the solar panels are no longer that good of an investment like they used to be. This trigger moment here, combined with the angle previously, is what we're going to utilize to make the master concept with. But here, the trigger moment is really that the buyer notices their monthly income from selling solar energy back to the grid has dropped dramatically. And this is the specific moment that triggers active consideration of a battery as the next step. So now we have the angle, we have the use case, and we have the customer track. So let me show you how we map all of this together and how this becomes the strategic DNA for a master concept and for a creative brief. We have then the master concept, and here we call this the master concept, the income that paid for itself. Here we always map out how much confidence we have in this master concept, which is the MCO confidence, and then we start linking it together with the customer track, the use case, and also the product. This now becomes the strategic DNA for the briefs that we're going to make. We're doing all of this inside Notion, and this is what it looks like. And then we can also see the concepts that we are producing for this specific master concept. What we essentially do when we are creating content is we track the master concepts, and then we track the creative briefs so we can see, okay, which master concepts is it that are producing the highest hit rates, which master concepts is it that are producing the highest or the best performing content, right? We flag everything as winners, near winners, and losers as well inside Notion, so everything stays within this system. Then we have the creative brief. We can start making the creative brief once we have set the strategic direction for the brief. This ensures that all of the briefs that we are creating in the agency for our clients are tied heavily together with research that are just that are not based on like gut feelings and whatnot. It's always based on research that are linked to customer reviews, that are linked to Facebook comments and whatnot. And this is just what ensures that the creative hit rate is high. This is what it looks like. So here we have a static concept. Our hypothesis is that the neighbor comparison angle will outperform by triggering loss aversion and social proof simultaneously. The strongest conversion drivers for this skeptical demographic. This customer track, they have seen and heard a lot of marketing because they are quite old people. So typically they're skeptical. The news format variants will drive higher CTA but attract curious clicks over qualified buyers. So this whole concept here is a concept where we're going to create static ads that are going to send traffic onto an advertorial so that we can convert that skepticism into more qualified traffic that are then landing on their website. But here, the way that we then go ahead and brief is we always attach an inspiration, we make a brief, we provide the copy for our graphical designers, and then we go ahead and produce something similar to this. And then we always make sure that we are providing 3 quite unique variants so that we can improve performance the most. So you can see here, this is what we're then trying to target here, or going to replicate something like this here, we're going to replicate something like this here, and then we're going to replicate something like this here. One of the most important things to take into consideration for this specific static concept here is that we wanted to produce something that was resembling very much that of typical newsletter posts in Sweden. We went on to some of the biggest in news outlets or magazines or media outlets in Sweden so that we can replicate their format and thereby produce something that the audience was already used to seeing. So obviously, when you're creating content and when you're creating concept briefs and whatnot, you must always produce them in a way that they take the landing page into consideration. And you cannot produce creatives and expect them to perform well if the landing page isn't equally thought of. The destination matters equally as much as the creative that you're making. I cannot show you the advertorial that we have created for this specific client here. That would simply just give them away too much. But what I will say is that you always have to make sure that the landing page that you're sending traffic to matches the expectations of the creative that the people that are clicking through from. The last thing that I want to show you is the strategic outmapping that we always do for our clients. Again, just to make sure that the whole strategy from a holistic point of view plays together. So a strategic outmapping ensures total alignment between all the creatives that are produced, which ensures a full funnel approach to digital marketing. This is needed to scale D2C brands in 2026 post Meta's Andromeda update. Most of you that are watching this video, I'm sure you're already going to be fully aware of all of the 5 awareness stages that there are. And this is what that strategic outmapping takes into consideration, as well as outmapping the different content pieces needed in the different stages of the funnel in order to convert cold traffic into a buyer. We always start with the customer journey. This is for another product, by the way, just so you're aware. This is not for the same product that I just went through here in the foundations of creative strategy. This is for another product. But here, we've simply outlined the customer journey where they go from Facebook ad to perhaps a pre-lander to maybe a product quiz directly to the PDP, and they become a buyer and a repeat buyer that way. This is just to understand, how are we going to convert cold traffic to a buyer? Here we can see the funnel outmapping. So the funnel outmapping is how we are going to convert cold audiences that are taking supplements but are problem aware of the fact that their supplements are most likely not working due to poor digestion. We then go ahead and we map out the different awareness stages over here, but we try and condense them into capture, convince, and convert. So the 3 C's over here. So how are we going to capture their attention? How are we going to make them stop the scroll? How are we going to make them listen to what it is that we have to say? Then, how are we going to convince them that the mechanism that we have is the right for them? And how are we going to be able to convince them about the desired outcome that we can provide them with if they switch to our product? And also, how are we going to convert them? What is needed in each stages of the funnel in order to convert at the highest possible level? As you can see here, there are different content formats. There's VSL videos, there's native ads, and then there's info carousels. We always try and be as visual as we can, which also makes the job of the creative strategists a lot easier because they know exactly what it is that they're going to brief for in order to complete this whole funnel. VSL ads are going to explain this concept really, really well of the product. Also, of course, this is tied together with the different customer tracks. It's tied together with the different angles and the use cases, and tied together with a master concept as well. But this is again just to visualize exactly how it is that we're going to convert cold traffic into a buyer. There could be native ads as well. Native ads is a great way of introducing something new to a cold audience because the picture is going to obviously capture the attention, and then you have the copy to convert. This doesn't work for all brands, by the way. This works for brands that are dealing with more, how can I say, I would say older audiences where they're not they're more prone to be reading copy. Native ads can work phenomenally, and then we also have info carousels, and this is an example taken from Neuroglobe. Again, something that has worked phenomenally for other supplements brands that we have worked with. Then down here is the destinations or the content pieces as well that we need in order to convert or convince someone to become a customer. Here we're going to utilize listicles and advertorials to convince them, give them more information about their problem, their desired outcome, and how our product is the solution to their problem. And we also have a product quiz. Lastly, the offer ads, like the static ads that includes price, that includes clear call outs, that includes social proof and whatnot. These ads are going to perform if you have this part of the funnel done correctly. This is how we producing is intentful. This whole thing that I have showed you here is how we produce intentful content for our clients. Everything is tied together and everything is a part of a bigger system. Nothing here is produced at random. If you found this video valuable and you want to know exactly how we can do the same for your e-commerce brand, then you can schedule a call with me. There's going to be a link in the description of this video. See if we are a fit to help your brand scale as well, just like we have done with many other D2C e-commerce brands in Europe. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a nice day and bye bye.